Hi, and welcome to Elicia Woodford's Resource Vibe. This is your trusted podcast directory for master level spiritual healing, guidance, and business resources. I have a special treat for you all today. Our guest is the sparkly, magical Eva Andrea. She's a book midwife, author, and publisher. And even if you have no desire to write a book, you'll want to tune in to this episode because today we're talking about how writing your soul's story can bring you to another level of healing, integration, spiritual awakening, and transformation. So, through her mentorships, writing circles, and her online writing school, Eva guides writers to explore the sacred dimension of creativity and how our words can become vessels for truth, beauty, and transformation. So, when you meet your mentor or earth angel helper that you're meant to work with, and there's like this instant soul connection, a flow, and a download of what they're here to help you with. That's exactly what happened to me when I connected with Eva exactly 2 years ago. It was just this instant soul recognition for both of us. It's like, oh, there you are. Yes. And when I started working with Eva to clarify what my book is, what am I writing about? I always knew I was going to write a book, but I had two different ideas. I said, okay, there's either my story or there's the process of how to heal. And as soon as we connected on this discovery call, it was like, of course it's the story. It was like not even another thought. It was like, of course, so it's just like this clicking in, of course, this. And then my story just started flowing because I was in her energy that was meant to help me. So we're going to talk all about that. And we're recording this episode around the same time as my book, Free to Be Me, as my book's first birthday. And you know what? I was so excited for this episode that I actually dreamt about this episode a week ago. And I was dreaming how I was going to wear this shirt. And I have not worn this shirt for any other episodes. This is the same shirt that I wore for my book cover photo. And I realized today, because Eva had me on her podcast right after I published my book last year. And I wore this light pink shirt that was for my inner child, because the book is for my inner child, for all inner children. And so my inner child was excited about wearing this shirt. And I just connected today really what this means, that this shirt is like my book is now grown up. And it's like, here we are. Here we are in the cover. And here we are ready to present this to you. So yeah, anyway, there's just all these connections. And so I dreamt about wearing this shirt, of course, last week. So yes, it's my book's birthday, and I'm so excited to have Eva on. And that we get to celebrate all this together on the show, and what Eva offers for everyone, for your soul to go through this process. And it doesn't matter where it goes for you, but we're going to talk specifically about this soul writing process today. So welcome, Eva, to the Resource Vibe community. I'm so excited to have you here and to share you and your beautiful work.
Thank you, Elicia. It's such an honor to be here. And I have been counting down to seeing you again. And as you said, it was so guided when we met, and it just felt so aligned and so beautiful. And it has been a complete inspiration to follow your journey from like that first little seed of the idea to the book, to sitting here with your amazing, beautiful book in your amazing, beautiful shirt, and, seeing you unfolding, and that complete devotion you have had to follow this calling, to bring your story to the world. That has been such a joy to follow and yeah, just deeply inspirational. So thank you
Hmm.
for having me back here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I just love your work around writing your soul story. I think that's really exceptional and special, and this it's a bigger thing than being a book writing coach. It's so different. Okay. And I'm excited to talk to you about that. And so before we go into what that is and what it does,
Mm.
I'd love for you to share your story of how you became an author and then also a book midwife and publisher.
Mm, thank you. Well, yeah, that's a story. And it began when I was a little girl and I just had this longing and urge to write. I had 40 pen pals at the same time.
40 pen pals?
Mhm. So she wrote like 3 to 5 letters a day because I had this sense that I wanted to express myself.
How old were you?
I was little, like since I started writing almost. So 8, 9, 10, that age and up.
So you had that was like a showing you had like 40 different writing clients.
Yeah, it started early, right? Now I'm thinking that my newsletter is my pen pals. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was born into this closed Christian community in Denmark. Um, and from early on, I was taught how to dim my light as a girl and a woman, and not be seen and heard. So this was a way
Mm,
where I could express myself in a safe way. I was I remember as a young girl, I was drawn to become a journalist, but then I was warned not to go that path because
mm,
you couldn't do that as a sister in the church. And I was very devoted in my spiritual path, very personally Christian at that time. So I kind of, found my way to keep writing a lot in my diaries and my journals, but I kept it for myself.
mm.
Then one day, 16 years ago, when I was sitting on the living room floor, I was pregnant with my fourth little girl, Melody, and I was doing some kind of intuitive writing exercise for myself. I had rolled out a whole roll of gift paper on the floor, and I was just writing on it, whatever came out. And suddenly, it's like something comes out of my pen, and it says, "I am a writer." And you know that feeling when the letters are just kind of staring at you. And there was like, I see the whole sea, like there was sunlight coming in through the windows on this, it was just lighting me up. And I felt this sense of full body recognition. And
Mhm.
yes, I am a writer. How come I have never seen that before? And later that week, it's time for family dinner. We go to my parents' home, meeting up with all the family. And I have this sense that I have to share my new truth. And I'm waiting till we come to the dessert. And when the apple pie is on the table, I find the courage and I say, I have decided to write a book. And then there's this moment, those moments when it's just so silent, very long
Who
time.
was at the table?
My closest family, my parents and siblings, and.
Okay. Mhm.
And then my mother says, Eva, you might want to write a book, but nobody will read it. Whew.
Wow.
And
Oh.
and that feeling, of like just being close by them. Today I see how she tried to protect me because she knew the culture, of the church.
Mm,
Um, and for me, it was like just, there was no way around it, that it was so strong. It was coming from inside. I just had to write this book. So as the first woman in this community of 100 years, I wrote this book and published it while I was still in the church about mindful motherhood. That was a big thing for me at that time. And then at some point, I had this kind of meeting with the divine, big breakthrough, awakening on a deeper level. And I was guided out of the church 12 years ago. And that brought me on that journey of writing more of my own books, the spiritual books I'm writing, and also, slowly but surely, I was kind of just nudged onto this path of becoming a midwife for others, and the writing school, the circles, anthologies, everything's just been coming as a remembering, actually, of who I am and what I'm here to do. So,
Mm.
um, yeah, that's the story. And then I met you.
Well, that is incredible. I find a lot of times that our gifts are real deep down, or our mission for the world, I find, is typically we have to go through that. It's the thing that was rejected by one of our parents or both of our parents, what we weren't allowed to be, that we have to find and discover and be and believe in ourselves despite. Now, not for everyone. A lot of times people have gifts, parents support them, but yeah,
Yeah,
there's these
yeah. And
deeper
it's a
journeys
cross.
of, yeah,
Mhm.
coming into our gifts in a
Mm.
difficult way where
Mm.
no one had supported them to find it yourself and believe in it yourself.
It's an
Yeah.
initiation in a way, right? It's a
Mhm.
part of the fire that
Yeah.
needs to go
Well, and
through.
that's the book. Well, the book I read that was translated into English,
The
The
fire in it. Yeah, exactly.
Fire, yeah, in My Feet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's about
Yeah,
that courage it took to kind of walk that path, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Away from the church and
Mm.
discovering your spiritual
Yeah.
connection
Mhm.
beyond. Yeah. Wow. And your Facebook group is called Write
Yeah,
Your Light.
ride your light, yes.
Yeah.
And also the podcast I started last year, like right now it's kind of on a little of a wait because I have a
Yeah.
lot of other projects, but it's also called Ride Your Light. So for me, my deeper why I feel this calling is, I think, because I have experienced the transformation of what it gives us when we dare to speak our truth, shine our light, share our stories, whatever form we do that in, and stop dimming our light.
Mhm.
So I really feel that call to encourage and support and help those who feel called to that. But of course, also the healing journey and the soul connection we can experience through writing is something that I'm also very passionate about.
Yeah. So I want to talk about that because well, first of all, I wanted to say, yeah, because the first thing you shared was that you were taught to dim your light, and that's why I wanted to bring it into the name of your podcast and your Facebook group is Write Your Light. It helps us bring our light out, the soul writing process. Now, I started my business 20 years ago as a journaling facilitator. So I know and I have taught the power of writing for self awareness, clarity, healing, and manifestation, and all kinds of things, right? But writing my soul's story was an entirely different experience than journaling.
Mm.
I experienced a whole different layer of healing and integration of parts of myself
Mm.
through writing my soul's story, and I was transformed from it. It's just a whole other healing modality.
Mhm.
So I would
I'm
love to hear from you about what what is that? What is the soul writing process?
mm. Yeah. It's a big question. And first of all, just to say, I remember our sessions as you wrote chapter by chapter and how you healed as you wrote it and how it was cathartic what you went through. And I was so moved by your courage to keep returning to the work and allowing the book to write you, because that was
Yeah.
kind of what started to happen, right? So just to say,
Yeah.
uh, deep admiration and respect for the way you actually showed up for that healing journey that was.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, my soul was writing me.
Yeah.
Was writing. Yeah.
There were these crazy synchronicities all the time. It was
Yeah.
wild. It was like my monthly Netflix. to fi-
Really. It is. I still have a whole story I will tell. I think I'm gonna
Mhm.
tell it like at books, clubs and book,
Yeah,
signings and things of the story of what happened writing my book.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
know.
even now with my great aunt, it's like the
Yeah,
synchronicities and the full circle healings that were happening
yeah,
while writing and then even now after publishing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's beautiful. I want to hear that story about your aunt,
Yeah.
but when
Okay.
you feel like sharing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, but I'm also happy to answer the question.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big question. It's a big answer.
Yes, exactly.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. So I would say for me, like in more like in general, if you ask me what is soul writing, what is the difference from
yeah.
the other kinds of writing, I have found that when we when we lean into deep presence and listening and write from that space, from our essence, from our soul energy, and from listening more than making something up. We kind of bypass the ego and the chit chat of the mind, and we tap into a deeper stream of inspiration that is coming from that very truthful, deeply connected place inside of us where all inspiration is available. So it's like we tap in and then we write from there. And and that brings a certain resonance to the writing. It's you just feel it. You feel the difference if something is written from that space or if it's written from the head, you know,
Mm,
or
mm,
from the ego for that sake. And then to be in that kind of receiving mode and of course that also casts a light on what still needs to be integrated in that energy, the love, right?
yes.
So that love is
Yeah.
kind of holding the space and it also brings out our fears, our shadows, our guilt and shame, and whatever is kind of has to move through. I've never put words to it in this way before.
Mm,
Somehow, that's amazing, actually.
yeah, it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's what happens. I feel like in my own experience and what I
Mm,
experienced with clients, and I also saw with you. It's like it's really becoming a healing process, and then there are many ways we can explain it, like that when we name like the more healing part of the experience. There's something about when we name our experience, when we name our feelings and our story, it is brought into the light. It is brought into our consciousness in another way. Things that were maybe a little in the shadows or suppressed or not really integrated or uh,
yes.
worked with, it
Yeah.
comes up and out. And it's like it moves the energy. So when the words move through us and onto the paper, it's like there's a movement and an alchemy that happens that
Mm,
transforms pain into something beautiful, into something that can uplift, and into kind of finding the wisdom in
mhm.
our experience, right? Does that resonate for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's yeah, I what I found because there's different book writing processes too. So
Mhm.
moving away from journaling, because journaling we can journal about a specific thing or a memory in the past, which is totally different than writing our story and writing the truth about our story from that experience from when we were experiencing what was our truth then, with some wisdom that we have now for sure, and versus, writing a story where it's like this happened, and then this happened, which is very different than the feeling of it, the reflection on it,
Mm.
right? I didn't know any of this. When when I started working with you, I wasn't aware that I was going to go through a healing process or
Mm.
this transformational process. I just knew my book was ready to be written. That was it. And then I was experiencing all of these things And then after I was finished, I felt cleared out. Like
Mm.
like it was complete. My past felt complete. And parts of me were integrated. Parts of me came back
Mm.
that were hidden, that were really, really important for me, that even this podcast came. So a really important part of me is researching resources around the world, and I had created 4 directories, and I wasn't connected to that part of me until I wrote about it over the past 20 years. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah. So after I published my book, this podcast came because of that, because that part of me wanted to step forward now because I had acknowledged that part of me in my book as well that I had forgotten about.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a befriending happening of all parts of us in that
Yeah.
process. And that sounds like you really have experienced that. I love that.
Yeah. The
And
photographer part.
mm,
And then there was this other part that was complete, the core emotional healing.
mm,
So the teaching of it, the supporting people through it, because I was complete with my own core emotional healing. And it really felt done.
yeah.
And when I was writing it, I didn't know I was done until I was writing my whole healing process, my whole
Mm,
core emotional healing process
mm,
without naming it that, but it was that. And then when I was done with that, and I'm writing about my healed self
mm,
that was complete with that, I could not do it anymore. Like I had no access to it.
mm.
It was complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It sounds like a coming full circle um, experience. Yeah. I remember myself when I wrote my first memoir that is now translated, The Fire in My Feet,
Oh, yeah.
that I had a similar experience of deep healing. And that was especially, there's a time where you listen to it and you're kind of more, in a softer part of the birthing. And then there comes a time where you just have to write, 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 write. You probably also had that, I think, where
Oh,
where
yeah. Yeah. I could not write. I was like,
and
"I just want a day off." Nope.
the child is pushing, you
Yeah.
just need to let it come through you. And
Yeah.
I went to Altea. I lived in Spain at that point, and went to Altea, just rented a place, and I was sitting in this little white house for 10 days, and it was raining a lot. I remember there was such rain outside, so I was kind of just secluded, sitting there in my little writing bubble, and I allowed the story to come through. And I remember how many times, many chapters, I was crying so much when I wrote them that I could hardly see the computer because it was like deep
Mhm.
processing happening at the same time, as you know.
Mm.
And I just allowed it, and I just stayed in that space and just allowed it to kind of pour through me. And then on this 10th day, when I had that sense, that is the body of the book. Now I have the body. I know this is like it, you know? I woke up and I go out to the bathroom and I look myself in the mirror. And then I see that my face, it's like it's peeling off. My skin it looks like I've been wearing a peeling mask. I can just peel off all of the skin. It's very strange. Never before or after experienced this. And I just peel it off. And underneath, there's this beautiful, radiant baby skin. And
Whoa.
it's such an experience of I have taken off my mask and I have stopped hiding,
Oh
you
my
know? Yeah.
god. Whew.
You feel that
Yes.
one, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it
I'm
was really what happened because I spoke
mm.
my truth and I stopped
Oh,
hiding my light? Also all the
wow.
beauty and all the power and, it's not just about pain. It's also about
Right.
our
Yeah.
our brilliance, right?
I
It's
the
everything.
It is. So the soul writing, I described it as well as a ayahuasca journey, writing my
Mm,
book, because that's
mm,
what it felt like. It was like, "Oh, yeah, this and this," and then down into the grief that I didn't know was there,
Mhm.
and then really I cried, like, really hard crying, like, for 2 hours one night. And, yeah, there was so much that I needed to process, and without writing the book, if I didn't write the book, my tendency, and I know a lot of people's tendency, is to be like, "Okay, that's in the past, moving on, I'm good," right? But we're
Mm.
still carrying it with us, and how much it's impacting us that we're not aware of when we
Mm.
don't process it emotionally. Obviously, that's the whole core emotional healing process. Um, but so this is another healing process, another core emotional healing process,
Mhm. Mhm.
is writing, the
Mhm.
soul writing process. And it does, I feel like it brings us into these different dimensional selves of ours where it's like we're releasing something that wasn't us, we're reconnecting to who we are. So things start happening in the present moment, these
Yeah.
mystical experiences like your face mask actually peeling off. And I experienced all kinds of things that was wild during my process as well. And that's why I was like, one morning, I felt like I was on drugs. Was I was in a more magical part of my story. It wasn't the grief. It
Mm.
was I was, writing, after, I left Doug and I was on the other side, and I was experiencing magical things there, with the jungle and these messages from the animals. And I don't know if I told you, but I'm putting together an oracle deck with my photos
Huh?
of the pictures I took, that and the messages I received from this lived experience as well. So
Amazing. I love that.
yeah, so I was experiencing, this part of me that I was experiencing in that time that I was writing about. And that part of me was, yeah, very, psychedelic and magical. And I felt like I was, tripping like on some sort of psychedelic drug that was which I don't even typically like psychedelic drugs. This was the better one that I can that I've ever had. It was me. But yeah, this part of me that's like another dimensional part that I was experiencing. And then, yeah, what I was writing was happening in real time in a different way, that it felt like these dimensions were coming together. Like the two people I was writing about that didn't know each other at that time when that I was writing about them were on the same shuttle that morning, going to the same airport, and they ended up having dinner together that night. And I was writing about both of them
I
that
know.
morning.
Oh, I get chills. I remember that. Yeah.
It was just all these, like, yeah,
Mm.
things were like
Yeah.
connecting and everything. And
Yeah.
yeah. And so um there's confirmation too. I would love to hear, so like the face peeling is one.
Yeah.
And I'll share my confirmation of, I want to say there's many confirmations, right? But like when I published my book, okay, there's two confirmations. Last year when I published my book, and then what just happened on the book's birthday. So when I received my author copy last year, I didn't realize the date. I haven't thought about that date in 15 years. When I
Mm.
received my author copy, my friend was actually visiting me. She lives in the US, but she was living in Madrid at the time. And she came to visit me. She's sitting here at the farmhouse in the south of France. Author copy comes. And I was like, "What is today's date?" She said, "June 13th."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh my God." It was my 20th anniversary of marrying my first husband, the 3-month marriage where my book begins.
Oh, wow. I have so many chills.
I know. I was like, "What? I haven't thought about this date in 15 years." Our 20th, so my book is about my healing of the pattern from my father. one of the themes, there's many themes in my book. One of the themes is the healing of this pattern that starts, my healing process starts with my first husband. It was the most abusive relationship in my life. It was 3 months. That's where my book starts.
Mm.
And we had, in towards the end of the book, reconnected. He apologized. So there was a completeness with us. And
Mhm.
then he had actually texted me the day before I got the author copy out of the blue about some healing thing that he's facilitating. And then that made me realize that was our anniversary. So that to me was a confirmation as well of like, yes, this is a complete full circle of the healing of our contract, my pattern. I've completed
Yeah.
that. And and then this year on my book's birthday, I get a message from my mom and with a picture of my great aunt who I've never met.
Mm.
I don't know her. She doesn't know me. She's holding my book in this picture, proud, sharp. She's 102 years old. She saw my book online, thought it looked interesting, ordered it on Amazon, and it had it on her table. My mom's cousin, her daughter, went over to her house and said, "That's Linda's daughter's book." And she didn't even know we were related when she bought it.
My God, that's fantastic.
And so the picture of her holding my book, there was a bookmark in it. It said, evening gowns and dancing. And it turns out that's her memoir. Her bookmark was her memoir in my memoir on my mom's side, and it was just like this, and I was floored, I cried, I was actually speechless because I actually felt the message from my mom's mom who had passed away 20 years ago or something. So I could feel her love and her support. And then
Mm.
this message of the confirmation of the ancestral healing and how important the book is for us, for our lineage, for our ancestors. And the next day, I felt my grandmother's presence, my Grammy, and I just felt her hugging me and I was crying, just like tears of love. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That must have felt so like such a blessing, you know. I love that for you. It's like, wow, who can make this up? Right?
It's better than fiction. All of it, even the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I want to hear from you about you or any other experiences where there's these like synchronicities and confirmation
Oof, yeah, well, there are
and
so many. And what I will say, like in general, my experience is that when we write from this place that you also wrote your book from, and that I write from, and that I guide people to write from, it's like something else comes in. We are not alone when we write like this. It's a co-creation.
mm,
So it becomes much bigger than us somehow. And
yeah.
we become vessels for something that wants to be expressed. And our stories become mirrors for others that can really be healing and helpful and way showers, you know? So it's 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 beautiful.
Yeah.
And I see it over and over and over again. And it's not like that we're not tested in this journey, right? That our trust is not tested, but that is like invisible hands in our back when we write from this um, soul space, because it's also a way of serving love with who
Mm,
we are and with our stories. Um, Let me see if I can explain this experience that I had that comes to mind. I just sat down and wrote about it the other day, so it's kind of alive here. My
mm.
second memoir that comes out in English later this year,
What
called
is the title?
it's called The Night She Walked Me Home,
Mm.
and it's about the dark night of the soul
Oh.
and my meetings with Teresa of Avila.
Mm.
And there's a whole kind of track in the book that is historical about Teresa of Avila, who wrote the book, famous book called The Soul's Castle, or The Castle of the Soul, and John of the Cross, who wrote about the dark night of the soul.
Mm.
Anyway, I had this very deep, it was kind of inevitable pull to write this book. I was standing in the middle of a dark night of the soul at a time. I didn't know back then that it was the beginning of the end of my soul contract with my husband, but it was a deep journey. And I just followed my guidance and I went to Avila and I wrote this book from this very kind of vulnerable space I was in. It was like I couldn't wait. I had to write it from that space I was experiencing. I didn't understand it fully, but I have really learned to follow my guidance, right? And I just do that. Later, a half year after the book was published, this is some years ago in Denmark, I'm sitting in front of the beach house where I was living at the time, meditating. And suddenly Teresa appears and she just takes me back through tunnels and, um, yeah, some kind of time travel back
Mm.
into a little chamber where she is in her bed dying. And she's grabbing my hand and she says, "You must finish the books, Anna.
Mm.
I love you." And
Did you
then I'm
say Anna?
Anna. Yeah.
Is that
ANA.
is this a past life name?
Yes. So then I'm thrown back to when I'm sitting on the beach and I am confused because I've not come across this. I've done a lot of research doing this, writing this book.
Mm.
And then I dive deeper into and trying to find who was Anna and what was that and was that me? And, I got curious because it felt very significant. It felt very meaningful, like a reminder of something.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that Teresa actually had a writing sister who helped her because she broke her arm when she was writing this famous book. And she was called Anna, and she was a
Mm.
nun in the convent. And after Teresa's death, Anna brought the manuscript to Paris and published it. And she also later helped John of the Cross to publish his book about the
I
dark
get
night. So
getting so many
my
chills.
whole book, my whole book was about the writing of those two books. That was that year I focused on in their story, and I didn't know why. And I think that helped me. And we can make of this what we want, right? I'm not
Yeah.
claiming anything, but for me, it was a reminder of why I have felt this, or kind of a help to understand and surrender even deeper to this calling to be a book midwife,
Mm.
because I love to write my own books, right? And I was a bit like drawn between these two tracks, and now it was like it's a soul promise. Actually, I'm here to finish the books that can help and uplift the world.
Oh, wow.
So
You're here to finish the books, to help
I'm to
people
finish the
finish their
yeah.
books.
And
Yeah.
bring them out, right?
Mm.
And that's why, I think that helped me to say even deeper yes to that calling. That was like 6 years ago.
Mm.
And
Wow.
and now I have helped you finish your book, right? And many others, and it feels deeply meaningful. So that's one of those synchronicities, talking about synchronicities and how we are guided and
Mm.
how there are so many layers in time and space and things that we hardly understand, but we just know we have an inner knowing about. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, now we go a bit esoteric here and hope your listeners can cope with that.
Oh, I'm sure they're all into it. So,
Yeah.
this
So
is a spiritual healing
mhm,
podcast.
good. Good.
Yes. And your gift is, you're holding the space for everyone's spiritual healing. It doesn't even have to be the book that gets
Yeah,
published. It is the soul's processing
yeah.
and reconnecting and integration, and all of those things are just as important.
Exactly. And that is important for me to say as well, because yeah, it is a big part of my work with the books, but I have the writing school, I have the writing circles where it's like all about connecting with your soul and
Mm,
healing and integrating and, also very healing for your inner child. Uh,
mm,
because that has been a big part of my journey to really embrace that inner child. So that's
mm.
why I like the writing school. The
Well,
school.
tell us about the writing school. What
Yeah.
do people learn and
Yeah, happy to.
experience?
Yeah. So I have created this beautiful writing school that is, I would say, one of a kind. It's called the School of Ensouled Writing. And it's like this journey of discovering your soul connection and your voice as a writer, and also the all kinds of beautiful exercises, meditations that guides you into discovering what you want to write about. And there's a lot of fun in there as well. It's kind of fun. It's kind of my inner child that was having a
Oh.
big say in the creation of the goal, because it's not, you know, it's in some ways it's very sacred. In other ways, it's very fun and playful, and there are white rabbits and other things there, So, uh,
White rabbits.
you
It's a
follow.
little Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, it's kind of that little bit of that vibe as well. So we are whole beings, right? And we need it's our inner child that is the writer. It's the inner child that
Mhm.
is the creator. So she or he needs to breathe, and not take it so seriously. So it's all about getting into your flow and discovering yourself in this way.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah,
so it's what your inner child needs to say. Like, all of us have been shut
abs-
down, our
yes,
voices, our truth,
yes,
as children. And this, yeah, and, inner child healing is at the heart of my
yeah,
work, and mission and passion and love. And
mm,
yeah, that's what I experienced in writing my book. My inner child
yeah,
came out, like, was really
mm,
wanting to be heard, to be acknowledged, to be valued, to be seen from, me seeing my inner child of the fullness of who she is and value. And I
mm,
remember she woke me up one night to write. She was like, "Remember this." And I used to say as a 3-year-old, for the word remember, my inner child said would say, "Are you a member of the member club?"
mhm,
And so it was like, "Are you a member of the, like, are you gonna remember?" Of the, how it was like, and she, like, wrote that in my story because I was remembering things about her. I was like,
mm,
"Oh, yeah, you are this." And she's like, "Now you remember."
yeah,
So yeah, anyway, so I just wanted to, yeah, the inner child connection is
yeah,
so important, and I love that about your school, the connection to our inner child's
yeah,
voice
exactly.
and words
Yeah.
of truth. Yeah.
Exactly. So I have actually created, it looks like a little bit of a treasure map. So you can go, there's no starting and ending point. It's a quest for the inner child in a way.
Oh.
Because it also has very deep trainings, and there's you can learn to channel with your pen if you want to going more esoteric. You can do storytelling workshops. You can do all kinds of things. You learn a lot. There's like 100 training videos in there and lots of meditation. So there's many things, but it's all to teach the inner child to play and to open up. Because for me, it's like when we open and when we allow and when we soften into that space, the flow comes in, and
Mhm.
it can be joyful. Uh, Now we have talked a lot about the more kind of alchemy and the
Mm.
healing, but it can also be really joyful to write. It can be really
Yeah.
uplifting. So it can be everything, right?
It is. It's everything we are. It
Yeah,
connects us to everything we are.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
With this human experience.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
and beyond.
exactly. There
Mhm.
was something that came to me this morning, Alicia, when I was kind of tuning in on this conversation, because I know you are also very connected with Mary Magdalene, and you write
Yes.
about that in your
When you
book.
were talking about Teresa,
Mhm.
I was thinking about Mary Magdalene and the
Uh-huh.
connection in my
Uh-huh.
book and everything, yeah.
Exactly, and that was so beautiful to see. And she's also been very strong inspiration in my life. But there's this in her kind of what I connect to her teaching is where to connect heaven and earth, to
Mm,
bring it together, that integration, that wholeness, that remembering of. our wholeness,
Mm.
to ask ourselves, where am I divided?
Mhm.
So that is like a real Magdalene question, right? And that is, I think, what we work on in soul writing is like to see, where am I divided? Can I bring it all in? Right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and I see you have done that in
Yeah.
your process, right? And it's
Yeah.
just um, it's just kind of mystical and magical what
It
happens.
is. It is. It is. I was thinking about her, I think this morning, and the
Mm.
flowers that
Yeah.
came to me, the roses, the dream of the Holy Spirit and love, and all of that is in the book too. And I actually was feeling called to go to the cave this week. So she is very present right now with us.
Mhm.
Well,
Can I come with you to the caves? I love
yes,
the
come, come.
caves.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take my dog this week.
Mhm.
Probably do a little clip. I have a free Facebook group. It's a private group for my book. So it's a
Mhm.
free to be me book club for anyone who has the book. And so I'm going to share little clips like that of like just more expanding on some of the themes in the book. And I
I
can see myself doing one of those this week in the cave with
Mhm.
River, my
Yeah.
baby puppy.
Yes. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Yeah.
So what is the best way for people to connect with you?
Well, you can go to my webpage that we can
Mhm.
probably put here.
Yeah, I'll link it in the
Yeah.
below in
Eva
the show notes.
Eva dash
Yeah.
Andrea.
Eva-Andrea.com or
Yeah,
something like yeah.
exactly. And there, if you go to gifts, I have a beautiful gift that is a free meditation where you meet your muse, a soul
Mhm.
writing meditation. So you can go and get that for free and have an experience of tapping into that deep space and also meeting your muse, because we often have a muse that
Mm.
is coming to us to help us in this journey. And the muse can change form, so you can go back and do it again, but it's a very powerful meditation that many loves. And there you can also see everything I offer, and you can also see more about the writing school. Right now I'm having a summer enrollment, so you can go there, and I have never offered it to this price. 111 euros, and you can go there and have,
111 euros? That's
yeah, and you can
great.
go and
Wow.
have the whole school lifetime access, and
Wow.
anytime you want, you can go in there and play with your inner child and start
Oh,
this journey of soul writing. And wherever that will take you, if that will take you to writing your book one day or not, it's a
mhm.
beautiful experience and a healing. So
What is the name of the school?
this school is the School of Ensouled Writing.
Ensouled Writing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it's on
Mm,
the webpage, and you can see
okay.
all
I
about
think
it.
that is such a beautiful offering and an incredible price for people
Yeah.
to explore this soul writing for wherever, like you said, it takes them for healing, for integration, for transformation, for writing your book, for
Exactly.
connecting more with you and
Yes.
your healing gifts. Your healing gifts is to help people write, their soul to write and go through that process. It is another healing modality.
It
It
is.
is. Yeah,
Absolutely. It is.
yeah.
Now, when I look back on my life, I it's kind of beautiful sometimes when you are being interviewed. You reflect for a moment. And today, this morning, I was just feeling such a sense of deep gratitude. How when I look back and see how writing has always, through my journey, been like this little lantern guiding me home. So it's like a homecoming that always happens when I write,
Mm,
and that I feel everyone can experience. It's just a pen away, right? That homecoming.
yeah.
Um, and also, Elicia, can I just thank you for a moment here, because you are incredible, and I don't know if you know exactly how extraordinary you are. So I want to give you a little mirror here.
Oh,
You are such an embodiment of love, and you are such a way shower for so many. And what you share and what you offer is not theory. It is lived wisdom. It is embodied wisdom. You are transmitting such an energy because you have walked your path and you have had the courage to look into the eyes of whatever you've been meeting, of pain or whatever. You have just been doing the work and you've kept showing up. And then you are, serving with your
Mm.
gifts. You're bringing your medicine to the world. You're bringing your elixir, that all that you found on this hero's journey you've been on through your book, your beautiful book that I'm completely in love with, but also through your podcast, other offerings. You're just incredible. And I want you to know that. And I want
Mm.
everyone who agrees to put comments and say the same in text, right? Wherever you can put that. Because
Thank you.
you really deserve also
Um,
to feel the gratitude. And I know you probably got many, many beautiful feedbacks from the readers, but I have seen how you have been so, how can I say that? A story is really like a mirror. And because you have been so willing, and so generous to bring the readers so close to your heart and your story without hiding,
mm,
you're also giving the reader such a clear mirror so you can recognize yourself and you can relate so deeply. And that's why your story is also, it has healed you, but it's also healing the reader and creating transformation in deep layers that the reader maybe don't even understand. But
yeah.
I know a shaman when I see one, and that's what you are with your storytelling. So thank
Mm.
you for
Thank you so
thank
much.
you for your willingness to do that. And I know that this is just the beginning of your book's journey. I have a feeling that the universe has so much in store for you and for the book's unfolding. So thank you so much for you.
Wow. Thank you, Eva, for that
Yeah.
amazing heart gift. I so receive it and love you and thank you so much for everything for helping me connect to my story that needed to be told and in the way you helped me. I reread it recently and I can just see the touches you put on it were so important.
Mm,
I'm like, yeah, because in the time I don't even know what I'm writing, you know? It took me a year to understand my book. It was
mm,
almost impossible for me to even articulate what it is or who like really the fullness of it. And it's taken me a year to really understand it. And then I read it again with that understanding and I saw the things and I was like, right, exactly.
mm,
You helped me
mm,
really with all of the ways that I needed to wrap it up and bring it to people's hearts. So
mm.
thank you so much.
Mm.
And
I'm
yeah, a lot is happening now
Mhm.
with it. So
Curious about that.
we will see. And yeah, I'm now understanding the spiritual adventure film that it is.
Can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and since we worked together, I started now writing consistently what's happening because yeah, it was like, yeah, this, but what comes after you're free to be you,
Mhm.
and then really all the things I went through after, where I'm not healing the past, but really going through other kinds of things that needed to be cleared. Probably from the past, but it wasn't the same process. It was a
Mm.
different process.
New
So
chapter, yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
it's a
there's
whole.
maybe there's a second book coming one day. Who knows?
Yeah, I have a prequel too.
Ooh.
There's a way more interesting stories before before I'm 30.
Mm.
So
I'm
yeah, we'll see.
intrigued. Yeah.
It could be a whole series, but
Mhm.
let's just see. This is the core of it for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you for being here and sharing your healing gifts and your energy, listening to your call and your mission and the spiritual confirmation of that from Teresa to help everyone finish their books and tell their soul stories. So thank you for your important work, and who you are is just, I just love you. I just love being with you, speaking with you, working with you, and sharing you. So thank you, Eva.
So much love to you and to everyone who's been listening. And just right?
Yeah, yeah.
Try to
Well,
find out.
definitely go do that meditation, everyone, that Eva's offering to find your muse. Check out the school. It's a great offer. It's a really another healing modality for you to connect with and to play with and have fun with too. And yeah, so thank you all for joining us today. If you're enjoying listening and learning from all of my trusted vetted resources, please follow, like, and comment, and share the vibe. I'll see you next time. Mwah.